what you got when the motherfucking beat drops.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Otaku Saga. I'm Zero. This is my guest, Ryuseishun
Reacts.
Reacts. I'm no good at Japanese still.
Sorry, it's like once that name stuck, once that username stuck, it's stuck. I don't plan on ever changing it.
Right. Me neither. I will forever be known as Zero.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. We're gonna have a little after show discussion after binge discussion of Tower of God.
Yeah. I actually didn't make it for the episode 1, but I generally have a good idea. I was there when around about episode 3, there was there, and we're going to be discussing some stuff like shared thoughts, about what could have probably some good points, if any, and mostly the bad points, like the stuff that we
Let's be honest
not a fan of. To be honest, I don't know if there's much good points to go with.
I know,
and it's sad. And it's sad because I'm caught up with the webtoons up to where the author is actually on a bit of a hiatus because of health issues. Just it's a different thing from the situation with the 100x100 manga, but it took too long to be decent. Let's just say that but the adaptation itself was just a disgrace. So before we
get too far into it, if you haven't already, if you haven't watched the binge, you can go find that on our channel. It was done on Monday. I watched all 12 episodes. And if you don't know who Ryuseishun Reacts is, he's another reactor. He's been our YouTube buddy for 3 years now.
Yep.
We've had you on here before.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope you all enjoyed the thumbnail that I
Oh,
threw
yeah.
together in like 10 minutes right before the show.
within 10 minutes. I've watched and reacted to this back on my own channel, but it wasn't. But frankly, I don't know if it was worth all that trouble when I think about it, because Crunchyroll always somehow finds its way to screw it up, and they're screwing it up with yet another webtoon series airing right now, and hopefully it's about to end next Monday. And but we'll get to that later. But yeah.
So, react and zero react for the first time. Don't think we're reacting to anything. We're just kind of talking. Kuhn's back must have hurt from carrying the series. Oh.
Well, the sad thing is, like, he is the actual decent guy. Well, I did want to like Yuri, but she doesn't really show up a lot.
And the problem is, like, Kuhn is still a shit character.
Yeah, that's the bad part, because he's a discount Killua, or that's a bad way to say, but like maybe he's smarter, but his character isn't really as fleshed out as somebody like Killua from Hunter x Hunter. Like, compared to most, he's not. I don't know I don't really know about another character I can compare him to at this moment. Just Killua just comes to mind, just because of the similar hair color and similar family issues sort of thing.
I mean, do you get that kind of standoffish smart guy in a whole lot of shonen series? Like, I know in Bleach it was the short silver-haired dude. I forgot his name. The ice captain.
I'm pretty sure. I thought.
But he was always that kind of.
Toshiro. Are you talking about that one? You know, the one that.
It's been a decade since I watched that show.
The one that controls ice and uses Ice Dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
It has been too long, so my level of care of remembering his name is nil to zip. So, but I like that kind of slightly arrogant, slightly smart ass. I mean, chip off his shoulder kind of guy. You see it a lot around in anime. I know, like, that captain in particular. He's not everything that embodies Kuhn. He's definitely not. He's not the smartest in the bunch. He's not the most arrogant in the bunch, but he does have those tendencies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's a certain amount of tropism to Kuhn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kaiba
from
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah.
I mean,
sorta.
I
can see that.
Smart ass, very standoffish, and then towards the end of the series, it becomes Yugi's one of Yugi's.
Does Todoroki kind of count? Is that as well? You know, Todoroki from Boku no Hero Academia. I would think he qualifies as that as well.
All right, I'm just saying, like, you see that kind of trope a lot, and I mean, I guess it's a fan favorite trope.
I mean, the fangirls like it. I know they like that sort of character.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, I don't know. So, some deeper thoughts of some of my deeper thoughts of the series is, like, one, there is no world. there is only the tower, and the tower makes no sense. So, what world building have they actually done?
Yeah. A lot of people will say
when you actually take a very fine look at the amount of world building that they have actually done so far in the series, it's there's nothing. Like there's a tower.
Mm-hmm.
People come to the tower, and people follow the rules in the tower. And the tower has many rules.
Yeah. The problem with how the prologue starts out, and people make an excuse like, "Oh, this is the prologue." Yeah, but you have to start your world building pretty early at some point before you try to get into the mystery of things. Like I don't like how they try to use the mystery parts of the starts where you have so many questions about, and they just prioritize that over actually making a foundation for the story. Like there's a lot of other shows that do this right or do this real wrong. The only ones that I've seen them do pretty well with was One Piece, Thunder x Thunder, and Full Metal Alchemist. I mean, those are the ones that come off the top of my head at this point.
Well, I mean,
they have an affirmative
world building is top notch. Full Metal Alchemist's world building is. I mean, there's a reason why Full Metal Alchemist is one of the most popular series ever.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the world. Everybody loves the people in it. Everybody loves the characters. And, I mean, and Full Metal Alchemist doesn't have a small cast.
Yeah. It's a pretty big cast.
Compared to Tower of God, I'm pretty sure, I think Full Metal Alchemist beats it out so far.
Yeah, so far. So from what I can say, that the cast does get bigger as the series goes along, but you still question the significance of it. Like, it takes too long to really get you in. Like, it's just like we didn't need fucking a few hundred chapters to really just have to go through that to get us actually interested in the characters, because most of the characters right now, you just don't really give much care for them at all. They're just plot devices.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, I'm just out here, just like, wait, who's the guy in that funny looking coat again?
Seppuku. It's like, I'm supposed to feel for this guy. Why? Oh,
when Ho died in the anime, I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna remember you.
Oh yeah, that was his name, Ho. See, I don't even care about his name.
Man, it's just one of those. It's just one of those where, like, I think it's just one of those shows where I feel like it tries to appeal with that many characters because it wants to suck you them in, because considering how go back to me forgetting Bam was the main character at one point. Yeah, because Bam is not a very memorable character either, which is sad, in all honesty.
Right. I mean,
because when he starts focusing on him, we tend to feel like he's not really there. Like, yeah, he will definitely get power, some random power ups here and there, but in the end, like, he's not a very memorable character. He does have some pretty cool moments, but not really something notable, because it is just really driven by the plot anyways. It just takes too long to really get.
He's driven by the plot armor. There is no plot here. The only plot.
Plot armor.
That is the only thing that is here.
Can I just say, like, they translate. Apparently, they missaid something about like, oh, he became the Sisu. No, the Sisu had a will of its own, but that's still plot convenience, if anything. Because all of a sudden, Bam is like a mysterious existence, and the nature of his mysterious existence is what's giving him this plot armor. And what the problem is, Bam is not a really likable character. You like, I hadn't even got to. He's not even a likable character.
Dude,
I can't. He is. I hate the fact like they were throwing around the word simp. He just, but unfortunately, that kind of describes him too well, and
Yeah,
that's what got him in trouble.
he's a simp. He's a cuck. He's just like girl, 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 girl. That is the only thing on his mind, and unfortunately, that's not the right way to go through life.
No, because these hoes ain't loyal. That's what he said.
Yeah, no. Yeah, especially if at the first chance, Rachel just threw him to the wolves and was like, peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And turns out even that was plot armor.
Yeah. I didn't like. I did not like. I really did not like Rachel's motivation. Well, I just personally didn't like it because it's just like I wanted to like. Why didn't he gets in, but I didn't. Okay, so you're just basically saying you're jelly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're telling us, right?
Yeah.
they even went to it later. They try to add to it, but just like, okay, yeah, you're jelly. We get it. We get it. She continues to be a problem, by the way, in the webtoons. It's just like, why are you still here? why are you still here trying to interfere?
And that's like, I don't know. So the whole problem I have with Rachel is there's a guy standing right in front of you that is telling you, you are the brightness in my life. You are the brightest thing that I know. I want to, and let me make your life as bright as possible because that's how I feel. And that girl decides that is not worth it. That I need to chase something brighter that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Because as much as she wants to try to cheat, because in the webtoon she tries to cheat her way to the top, but it's not working out well for her at all. It is an unrealistic way of going about it. So her mindset with this is just wild, and I hate when people try to praise that sort of writing for an antagonistic figure. That's not good. That does not compromise as a good villain. That's just more of like that a typical villain that looks like a main hero at first, but really is a bitch. So I can't. So I don't have any praise for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Only the fact that it has some sense of going off the status quo, and that's about it.
I'm not even sure if I'd even say it's going off of the status quo.
Oh well, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know that the absolute sad part about Rachel is I know women, chicks who aspire to be like Rachel.
Yeah, bad influence.
That is the sad truth, and that is why I absolutely hate Rachel, and I probably won't enjoy the rest of the series ever, because I know women like that who have done stupid things to me.
Yeah,
But even that being put aside, like any sort of motivations that Rachel has are, I don't know. I think that there's not enough world building to justify Rachel's ambitions.
Yeah.
Like
at the time, probably not. And I don't think
Why does she think that she needs to see the stars and has to climb this tower in order to do this? There doesn't, like, it tried to say it somewhere about there being a fake ceiling, but why? Why is that there? What's going on with that?
Why is the tower even existing?
Yeah.
What's the point of it?
And if that's the whole mystery, then sure, I suppose getting to the root of that mystery is all well and good. But
so
12 episodes in, is my... Oh my god. Hang on.
What happened? Wait, what happened?
My cat is outside my window.
Oh, okay.
Come here, Mousy. Come here. Come here, Mousy.
To anyone who doesn't know,
Come here.
rankers, there is actually people have reached the top, and apparently they're called rankers, if I'm not mistaken.
Mouse, get in here.
But like, and you think like, oh, if they reach that, then they've kind of achieved something, but they decide to stay around. And there is just way too many unanswered things regarding the tower itself. What is it about? Is the tower just the whole world, the universe itself? Is the tower something? Is a tower something like with the moons? Like with the moon cell in Fate Extra Encore, if anyone who's watched it, to where it's like the previous Earth was already destroyed, and then like the tower itself is a safe haven for everybody, for all the survivors. Maybe something like Noah's Ark in a way.
Come here.
The top, I don't know, Fanta. It would be the Holy Grail, but after what I've read, I don't know, because there are people. The rankers are the ones, and Yuri is actually a ranker. She's actually, unless if I remembered incorrectly, there are some people who've already reached the top, but they decide to stay. They don't, and there's just a lot of this inner conflict that may or may not involve trying to control the means of the tower and some stuff. I'm sorry if I'm trying to carry this because Rizzo has to take care of his pet. But yeah, it's just the problem is that like we may never get any of the most important stuff answered, because the authors, of course, is Signal and probably may not ever come back according to sources. But yeah, if Tower of God was set in a multiverse, I would think there is some levity to this, but there's too much questions to go. Not in a good way either. Not like ReZero, right? I just said Rizzo. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Shame.
I am just literally tripping. I'm literally just tripping right now, man.
So, just so you all can kind of understand where I was coming from. So, this is a busted up window. And apparently my cat got out of this window because the people who came in to fix the window didn't actually put the window in and took all the boarding out, And so randomly, I just saw my cat on the other side of that window.
Oh. Oh, Lord.
The reason
Oh,
why
no.
I call my cat Mouse is because she is absolutely skittish of everything. And so the train was actually freaking her out, and she was like curling up and looked like she was about to jump off a 2-story building.
Man.
Or
Okay,
off
so
of our
Java.
off of our second
Okay,
floor.
so Java says the tower isn't really related to anything seemingly. It's just a testing ground of sorts. That brings me more questions here. So he also first says the reason TUS is add on to every chapter is because SIU, the author, is writing under the principle that what he's writing is within the Tales user's story universe. He seemingly has a previous short story. So there's just. So what you're telling me is that.
But there's no concept of that. Like to the
So,
general
okay.
audience, there's no concept to that.
Okay, so what you're telling me is, Jari, if it's just like the Clamp franchise, with Cardcaptor Sakura XX's Holic and Code Geass and all, like there is that Tower of God is supposed to be the Tsubasa Chronicles of that universe. Sorry, Rizzo, I don't think you're really familiar with that.
Zero.
But if that's
I swear, if you call me
Zero.
Rizzo again.
God damn it. Yeah, I'm really tripping now. Damn it, brain, where am I going? Like,
this is where
yeah.
irregulars come from, some other universal world. Okay, that sort of makes sense, and I kind of had the idea that irregulars are from different worlds, right?
Yeah, that would be the case.
I kind of had that idea, but there's still like
it just still feels like
when you have an idea like drifters. Take drifters for example.
Yeah.
The
great example, by the way.
The all these warriors being ripped out of different times and being put into their own separate, like their own connected fantasy world where goblins, elves, and all that magic and stuff like that end up happening. So the world building of that specific world was rather minor, but it was enough to give us an idea of like there are different races. There's hierarchies. There's different classes of stature and stuff like that. There are different armies. There's good and bad. There's animosity between different races and all that stuff. All of that was very finely woven into the story of was it Toyosaki? I forgot the main character's name. But the main guy, it was woven into him learning about it. In this,
oh, you mean for Toyohisa or Toyohisa? Yeah, and that does make sense. Yeah, he does go about
Nobunaga. You get to learn all sorts of things while they are learning it. Even though it's very minor stuff here and there, you end up getting a nice idea of what the world is. That's what world building becomes. And by the end of it, you understand. I haven't touched Drifters, so I can't relate. You should watch Drifters. It is amazing.
It is one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites.
It's from the same creator as Hellsing and needs to be out there.
Okay, so I'm reading his. The tower is honestly more like something from the Masterverse, i.e., Fate in comparison to Steam. So you're basically telling me Tower of God is Fate Grand Order? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know, but
Man.
I still feel like there's just not enough. There's just not enough there. They've built decent foundations from what I've seen so far on basic rules, basic terms of engagement, stuff like that. But I mean, there's nothing else really there.
Yeah. Jabari says the most I could say about Tower of God from my point of view is that the world's set up in more in the author's head than the actual story, because the story is more about relationships and personal growth. That's an issue with if that is really the case. Because if all that world is set up in their head, and most of us don't even really know about the Tales user story versus like the rest of it, and we get exposed to all this stuff coming in from other worlds, like stuff that may not really belong here, we get confused. And I don't know if that's really a benefit for it story wise, plot wise, or anything regarding the characters and all.
Leopold said I was disappointed and confused with Drifters after finding out the Bo character was a dude.
Well, my condolences.
Well,
Leopold.
I mean, we all fall for traps every now and then, right?
Oh, man.
Sometimes
you recognize them right
if
away.
every time there's a trap that you fall for, you end up stop watching a series. I would stop watching ReZero. I would have stopped watching Origaru. I would have stopped watching a lot of series.
Yeah, we don't drop a show just because of trap. We can't be a pussy like that.
So, we all fall for traps. I mean, every now and then we all fall for them. I fall for tropes.
What? Okay.
So
said
you say
that's
that
an issue.
you say that that's why it was set up. Got explained a lot in the blog post he put out.
Why do you have to explain it? Why do you have to go through all that explanation in a blog post, though? Like, what?
So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why the anime failed with this. Because
Destiny had this issue. Destiny had this issue in the first game where people were absolutely pissed off that all the lore was outside of the game. So much so that people stopped playing the game because they wanted more lore in the game. They wanted to find that out. So people hated it because there was so much more story outside of the game.
And the thing is, you don't need to include all of the lore. You can include the most of it that you need to know, so you can get more of the world of the game or series you're watching. You can need that. You don't. I can
understand I can understand he's a younger author. But
it's a learning curve for him.
If he's a younger author and this was his first work, then it needs to find a way to be condensed. You need to put in that world building. I mean, I don't know how things I don't know how things are going on in his head, but I mean, when I start giving you a story,
are you alright, Zero? I mean,
I'm thinking.
Zero, you're
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have my own ideas on first time.
This is why season 1 is called a prologue, and people like me came to the series at the start with a blog post attached have trouble explaining this. Yeah, it's a prologue, but can anyone, if you've watched Vinland Saga, the anime of Vinland Saga was a whole prologue to the bigger story. but it didn't need any really much explanation. It really
Well,
get you into that story.
In Vinland Saga's defense, most of the world building is there because most
Yeah.
people know real world stuff, and I mean, you can kind of fit your own real world stuff into what's going on in Vinland Saga, right?
Yeah, it really helps.
But it did have an entire first 12 episodes of prologue, and that was in Vinland Saga. It just felt like another Tuesday, and I don't know. It's like, let's say with Bleach, you get that first trip through. You get that first trip through the spirit world,
The Soul Society.
Yeah, you get that first trip, and then all of a sudden it skips to the end where he's facing Aizen. And it's like all this front stuff is all that's prologue, and we just move forward from there. I mean, if it you gotta figure out what you're actually doing, and I don't think that I don't want to slam the author, but I don't think he knows where he's going with this, and I think he's just throwing things out there.
And Bleach, I think the only problem with Bleach is that it didn't have good strength in terms of it had tropes and it had some issues with power scalings and all, especially when it comes to the main character.
But
Ichigo.
even then, if you compare it to things that time, like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or One Piece, where power scaling doesn't really make sense. I mean, I don't think that Bleach was really faulted that much for not having that good power scaling, especially for the genre that it was. Nowadays, definitely we want that power scaling, because I at least kind of hold my stories to a better standard, I suppose. But it's like Boku no Hero. There is definite power scaling apparent there that you can see and you can feel in every episode. So I don't know. I don't tend to like to talk about super series like One Piece or Bleach or anything like that.
Jabari, I'm sorry about that. Like, Zero's not the guy you want to talk to regarding long-running shonen series. Like, he's already past that point in his life.
I hate them so much. I hate them all. It's like, I would not wish. I enjoyed Bleach. I enjoyed Dragon Ball Z. I enjoy Yu Yu Hakusho. But there are long-running series that I do not wish upon my worst enemy.
Yeah. And also, I think Sarah has a lot of trouble balancing out mystery and action, what he's really about. I think chapter lengths are a clear significator of his growth and his ability to meld everything together. Well, hopefully it does improve. But for the time being, it's still kind of a little a little bit in shambles. As, of course, season 1 is really short in comparison to all the other following into the next season.
So, I mean, that's... But the super serious thing is kind of why we stopped watching... we stopped watching Food Wars. We kind of stopped watching Boku no Hero because we're not up for super series, and eventually it gets boring. The same stuff. Even though, yes, there are differences, but it's the same stuff. Same characters.
I still go through long series, but I have to really, have to really take my time with it because I can't just go and just binge the shit out of it like I would used to 10 years ago. Like I would do something like 10 years ago.
I have I have a friend of mine who's like, she was so happy that she finally finished One Piece. I'm like, may God rest your soul.
Speaking of One Piece, my sister's actually watching it right now, and she's actually really
may
enjoying.
God bless her soul. I wish her the best of luck.
She is enjoying. She is enjoying it. I mean, she's still at an age where I know she's only like 3 years younger than me, but she's still at that point where she could still watch something like that. But after that, I don't know if she's gonna really be able to tackle another long running series at
So-
when she does finish.
So Jabbar, I mean, you can recommend trying to read the first season.
I had to struggle through the first season reading that part.
But
Sorry.
it's like we got recommended feverishly to watch Steins Gate in the subs that was chosen by our viewers. We weren't. If we chose the wrong subs, we got hate in the comments. The thing that we enjoyed was the dubs. And when we said that we enjoyed the dubs, we were bombarded by hate mail. And it's like, if we're not going to enjoy the series the way that we want to enjoy the series, we're not going to watch it. And so
Yeah.
we're not watching Steins Gate again. That's just going to be the way it is.
I personally would have enjoyed it watching you guys watch the dub of react to the
So-
dub of it, honestly.
And that's what
Right.
we tried to do. And in episode 5, we were like, we're not gonna keep going with this hate. So we just stopped going.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
know.
for me, like, I work 10 to 12 hours a day. It's like today, I woke up at 6. Actually, I woke up at 5. I left the house by 6, and I got home an hour ago. And I was just on the road constantly. I was constantly doing stuff. There's no time for me to read. I don't have time to read. I have time for audiobooks, and that's kind of what I've been doing every now and then, but I don't have time to read. And then
I usually don't use audiobooks because it can take a while, and I'd rather do the whole reading for myself.
Well, everybody's got their own way to do it. I enjoy audiobooks, especially of the Dresden Files. I eat that shit up. But it's like I don't really have time to actually sit down and read the light novels that I want to read, and that's just a bad. That's just kind of a bad hand that I get, you know.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with the anime. I'm stuck with what I can see.
Yeah, so don't blame these guys if they cannot read the source material like they used to. I know Rizzo did read the Origara light novel up until like volume 11, if I recall, but he hasn't gone back to it because the whole break it had, and I don't know how Rizzo's time is measured to where he can go to where he can actually could still be able to read light novels or manga.
Well, for right now, it's because he's just going through college and he doesn't really have a job going right now. But that's gonna change as soon as he actually goes to Japan. So, I mean, I'm sure that he enjoys reading, so he'll find time every now and then to sit down for 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes and read. But I'm just not that person. Jabbar says, to be honest, thinking about it more and more, season 1 was really SIU being forced to put out his college scribbles to the public. That's what created the issue, I think.
That's what happened, most likely.
That might be true. I don't know, but I am not going to... I mean... It doesn't it doesn't stop the fact that there is legitimate criticism of the series that needs to be put out there. It's like, if you're going to ignore my criticism just because of reasons, I mean, that's on you. But I still have the right to give it its criticism from my opinion. You know?
Yeah.
And from my opinion, there's barely any world building. I don't really know a whole lot about the world. Characters are bland at most, and at worst are just... I mean, I told it to my friend... I probably told it to my friend the best. It's like you go to a nice Italian restaurant expecting a really good meal because it's been hyped up. Everybody's telling you this place is awesome. You should watch. You should go there. And you're handed a plate of just 15 different types of boiled noodles. And there's no seasoning, there's no meat, no sauce. That's all you get. Is just 15 different types of noodles.
I would not enjoy that experience. I would just be like, nope, I'm not paying.
And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I have noodles. I enjoy noodles. I enjoy overpowered characters. I enjoy plot twists. I enjoy funny characters. I enjoy epicness. I enjoy magic. I enjoy all this stuff. But it's like Tower of God. There's no substance to it. It's just boiled noodles.
When I watch Tower of God, I mean, yeah, anime wise, I just feel like I'm watching something that doesn't really have a heart. Has nothing really going for it that makes me want to care. It feels like there's not much care put into it. And I would blame this on Crunchyroll because their shit would work with Higher, and Mouse did tell me about it regarding the whole Crunchyroll deal with webtoons. That's the situation is why that Tower of God winded up with. And it's happening right now with another webtoons adaptation going on right now that I mentioned earlier, God of High School. It's becoming a terrible show because of that. Because that show.
Oh no. Tower of God caught me because I fell in love with Bam from the start. I mean, I enjoy Bam as maybe a look back at a very young and naive and probably way too simple version of myself. But when I do that and I think about the people who have affected me in my life in similar ways to Bam, and watching that happen, it doesn't feel good, you know.
In fact, it says, I'm not gonna lie. Every ad I see for webtoons, it just looks like generic edgy garbage, and I hate using the word edgy. Yeah, that's a problem. And you know what's worse? Crunchyroll is also controlling the next season's webtoons adaptation. It's Nobilis, which is apparently a vampire themed series. Great. Great.
Well, maybe they'll eventually get to what is it? The legendary Moonlight Sculptor, and I'll actually find something that I enjoy.
Maybe. No, Androsius, we don't talk about, like, we'll talk about God of High School when Zero does react to it, if he is interested.
Androsius from Tower of God.
Like Andrew, Andrew's like, if Zero is interested in watching God of High School or binging it at some point, we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The gay-looking vampire show. Oh no.
Oh, great, great, Phantom. Why you gotta tell? Why you gotta tell him this? Why you gotta tell him this?
Not touching
It's already
that.
bad enough. Why you gotta tell him this? These guys were already uncomfortable for watching Grand Blue. You think? you think homosexual vampire show is gonna really be into their interest?
So
Like, come on, man.
I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to Jabbar here more than I'm talking about my thoughts here.
Okay, let's
Not that I don't enjoy your input, Jabbar. It's really good talking with people. I love chat.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, in the show. Oh wait. I don't know. Let's do this. There was a guy who left a review on Mal. And it was a raving review of
the Tower of God one.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, this guy says. And
it was a prelim review, to be honest, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a preliminary review, and like just throws out 9 out of 10 before, I guess, finishing the actual series. And he says, first of all, this story is of an epic fantasy genre. It is imperative to understand what this story is trying to be, so you don't end up judging it for what it's not trying to be. And then decided to list off some criteria of epic fantasy, which I kind of disagree with. But if you're going with epics, like as he put it, Tolkien's version of an epic, never touch my reviews. That's the only place I can find reviews. If you can find better reviews for me, then please let me know. I don't know where to find reviews on the fly are. But so this guy thinks that because Tower of God is an epic, it should be like criticism should be held to a certain standard. And I mean, there is still other standards to go by with this. One, I mean, our standards of review are how's the animation, like how's the animation art, like the art in general. How is the characters? How is the voice acting and the music? How is the story overall? How, like, all the basic plot points? How are they? And then our overall enjoyment. And like all those are very they're personal, but at the same time can be like our entertainment value is very personal. That is our opinions, but that is part of our critique on how much we actually enjoy the series, right?
Is it and he also lists top 4 reasons to dislike this show. If you hate being baited by info and having to think, the show is not for you. If you don't like a long-running series, it's not for you. If you want a story heavily focused on character interactions, it's not for you. If you want a mainstream art, music, and animation style, this is not for you. If you just want something you're used to, then this show is not for you. That's not a valid excuse, my guy. That's not a valid excuse.
And
the top 3 reasons to love it. If you're looking for something to follow in the long run, this might be for you. If you like thinking about possibilities, this might be for you. If you like dark fantasy, fatalism, and moral ambiguity, this show might be for you. It doesn't even do those well.
Yeah. I I can't find.
That's why my grade was.
something-
That's why my own grade was so harsh with it. There was just nothing. There's just barely anything positive, and whatever positive is just negated by the shortcomings of it.
Yeah,
And it all come-
I couldn't really find anything particular that I could grab onto and hold on to some sort of enjoyment. So it's like my overall enjoyment of this series is like a 2.
Oh man, I love
Um,
my boy here, Rebel Panda. The top review, by the way.
Yeah, the
Tara
guy who
Buck's
did
an
the
awful-
top review was like, oh man, he was on point.
Here's an awful clusterfuck of anime cliches haphazardly stitched together. Somehow, this pseudo deep story has tricked thousands of people into thinking it's good. I'm in awe that this miserable fan fiction got an anime adaptation.
So I don't want this show to turn into a reading review show. But
Yeah.
I mean,
We're just reading off.
and I also don't want this show to be completely like ripping on fans of the show. I just want to rip on the anime because I didn't.
Yeah, the anime itself is just man.
But so like anything that Bam did, it didn't feel like oh, I just realized that my mouse was on screen the entire time. My bad, guys.
Oh, no, that's fine, man.
I was poking you in the eye with my mouse.
Ow.
But anything Bam did was absent-minded. Like, I don't think that he has... I don't think that Bam has a actual, like, personal thought going through his head.
Yeah.
He is tethered.
I don't know if
to
he's
this-
really thinking
Yeah,
half the
he's
time.
tethered to this girl, and that is the only thing that he can think about. Everything else is just absent-minded. I don't even want to say survival instinct. It just, I don't know where it is. I don't know what it is. It didn't feel like there was any particular thought behind many of his actions. And I feel like the
he just-
entire series is just somebody reached out and grabbed his hand and said, go.
Yeah.
And
To be fair, it may or may not have to do with his origins, but those are such a mystery, and we just have to divulge. And the story is so caught up in its mystery elements. It's just like, how much of this are we supposed to really care when Bam literally got no character for him going? At least up to this season. I mean, God forbid there's future seasons. It's just like it's like I'm not even watching a character interact. I'm watching something that is making an excuse that I am in the main role. Thus I am a character.
Unfortunately, Leopold, I don't really watch a lot of manga adaptation. I just watch the anime, so I can only really go off of what I see in the anime. I'm sorry, I am that kind of otaku. I don't really, with the exception of
I used to be like 0-2, but then like Act Age was a thing. But you know how that
with the
one
exception of like 3 series, hopefully soon to be 4, but I have to buy all of those. But with the exception of 3 series, and that is SAO, ReZero, and Attack on Titan. And I'm hoping to get into No Game No Life, but I mean that kind of came to a screeching halt real quick, so I don't know when I'll be able to get back to that.
Yeah.
But I read a lot of Attack on Titan. I read a lot of their manga, and I think their adaptation is pretty on point. I read the first 2 light novels of ReZero, I think, and then I read a lot of Sword Art Online, and I actually have the first, I think, 6 Sword Art Online progressive books.
No.
And I can already see exactly where people are going to hate the new series that's coming up.
Yeah.
Because it is going.
Let's be real. Like light novel content is just something where it doesn't always translate well in anime form. Like there's just stuff.
I actually disagree because I think Sword Art Online's adaptation was very on point. They didn't miss
I'm not
anything
talking
until
about.
after.
I'm not talking about SAO, just SAO. I'm just talking about light novel series in general. They're like the content. Some parts of the content from those like may not translate well in anime form. Just saying, like it does. So people like as opposed to how manga usually does their thing. So yeah.
Bam's dialogue
And
is more supposed to draw on the fact that he was born in darkness in a cave with no interaction beyond Rachel.
was there much doubt?
How is he alive?
Yeah.
Everyone
Literally,
else is
Bam's
there to give
dialogue
him
is just
examples of what a person
Rachel
should
and
be.
Kusan.
Yeah. That just it's that's the whole problem with Bam is he is just somebody with a leash, and whoever holds the leash at that particular point in time is whoever.
Okay.
Is, like
So
even,
everyone is okay. I'm sorry, but sorry, Zero. Everyone else is there to give him examples of what a person is, or snake, I guess, is that's a proper term. Now, when you brought that up, you made me think of Violet Evergarden because my girl Violet starts out with not the ability. It's not so much that she doesn't have emotions, but she doesn't understand them, doesn't know how to reciprocate them, doesn't know how to emulate them themselves. And the job that she undertook as an auto member doll, like she she was able to interact with them, and the interactions with them, as endearing or even kind of funny as how they are. It built her character. It not just built her character, it made her be able to feel understand emotions, and thus she was able to understand her clients more. She was able to feel for them more. I really liked how it progressed, because considering how she went through with War, it's a better sense. But with Bam has to be this husk of a happy-go-lucky guy that's just gonna roll with anything at this point.
but okay, so Jabari says it's a good point, Zero, which is why season 1 ended with Leash getting cut off, but it didn't, because the girl with the eye patch thing was the person last with the leash. I don't know if the leash got cut off, because the last thing I saw was her taking over the leash. Does that make sense? So even in my point of view, there's still somebody with a leash. I don't know where the leash is, and it could be that at the end of the show, or at the beginning of season 2, Bam ends up killing girl with eye patch, and thus severing the leash entirely, and then going out on his own.
The last scene was him standing there. Apparently, he's got the long hair, and he's like standing in front of what was a monster corpse or something. So that's basically Bam.
But it's still being framed in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in how the anime is in my head, there's still a leash there. And leashes are dangerous. Don't ever wear leashes.
Yeah. And I can tell you from someone who's read it, he's still on a leash for quite a while. Maybe too long, because he had to work for someone, someone. And so he never really got off the leash until very late. And I don't even know if he's really off the leash, to be honest.
Because he's still chasing. He could still be chasing after Rachel. I don't know. I don't know his motivations after Rachel. So I don't know if he's out to kill Rachel. I don't know if he's out to still fall in love with Rachel. But that is the start of the leash. And
yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like everybody who is so far, every person who has been reached, every person that Bam has interacted with becomes a helping hand in allowing him to do anything he damn well pleases. With no real effort.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But that's definitely a point that bothers me. Even so far as some of the rankers. Like the redhead ranker who froze him during the game of tag. It's like he froze him and then literally told him, try to copy that and maybe next time you'd be able to beat me. Literally just told him to copy that. And what does he do? Copies that. And masters it immediately. I don't know. It's weird. And there's no build up to things that he's done and things that he's capable of. There's to my knowledge, he's already the god of the tower. And everybody is just the NPCs in his manifestation of a world.
What if it turns out that Bam was just the main player all this time, and everything else was just rigged for him? What if that was the case? Because even with the huge ongoing conflict going on right now, when it stopped where I left off, it still felt like it was revolving around Bam. It didn't have as much focus on Bam anymore, but it still felt like it was centering around Bam's existence. Which still bothers me.
So,
because he is the irregular element.
I almost wish that they never showed Bam again.
Yeah.
Because if it came down to... So, Gurren Lagann is fantastic.
Yeah, one of the best.
Halfway through the series,
one of my top
through the series, they kill off a main character. They straight up kill him.
Yep.
And then for I think 2 episodes at the very end, he ends up coming back to life somehow. In a very weird, transcendent way, and goes through the final battle with them. But you get to watch the other characters deal with that. Here, you as the audience know that Bam's there. In Gurren Lagann, you never knew, it was fact until it wasn't fact. Right? It was fact between episodes 13 and 20 that this dude was dead. Period, dot, end of story. that was damn near fact, not coming to life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's back, and you get this triumphant return.
He was back in spirit to help Shinon defeat the Empire.
So I feel like I might have enjoyed it a little bit better if one that big move was on episode 6. Like or on episode like 10 or something like that.
4 or 5 or 10.
Yeah, it's just not the second to last episode. Especially since I don't know when I'm going to be watching the series. I'm not even sure if I want to watch the series again. And then you get to feel like the actual ramifications of that as they go through a few episodes without Bam. And I'm pretty sure that once we get back into season 2, there might be a little bit of that. But if we go off by what we see in the last scene, where Bam has a really long raggedy hair, and he's Bam, then, I mean, I'm going into the second season expecting a time skip, expecting things to just move forward with Bam. If we're... I kind of would have liked to actually move forward a little bit with Rachel. And see more of Rachel. Because as much as I hate her, it might actually be interesting to watch a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to wait around for season 2 for that to happen. Especially since, like, all of the stuff that happened was, as far as it seemed to me, minorly consequential. Like, I don't think that there was... So, I know that there was need for the game of tag. And because that there was need for the game of tag, there was a need to show at least a little bit of the class work that was going on. Like with all the different classes and stuff like that, with the spearheads and the scouts and all of that stuff. That was all kind of necessary, but it could have still been condensed into a few more episodes, and into 5. It could have been condensed, and you could have gained a couple episodes for us to explore Rachel and the teamwork with Rachel. Like, how does Kun react to Rachel? Does Kun figure out that Rachel's insane and threw Bam off of a cliff? Like,
Yeah.
all of that's... It could have been done better. Like, I know that like, content compression is something that we have said is usually a bad thing. With like Akashic Records. Akashic Records felt like it was pretty compressed, and it could have been spread out more. We could have gotten a little bit more character development with these characters and stuff like that. But with Tower of God, like, the stuff that we got, I don't think it covers enough enough episodes. Like it's like that Bilbo Baggins quotes. It's like I'm too little butter spread over too much bread. There wasn't enough actual content to fill up all these episodes. So just give it a little squeeze. Press some more episodes out of it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Crunchyroll's not going to allow that. They've always just, for so far, the ones they've been, the shows they've been going with have all been just only 13 episodes, no 2 cores. And then it looks like they're going to continue to stick with that, apparently. So Crunchyroll, though, this is on Crunchyroll too, with their whole work for hire shit.
Oh yeah, and Crunchyroll is already on my shit list for their SJW's ways of thinking and throwing certain series under the bus just because reasons.
Tower of God should have been compressed with just less rack. Well, rack is a mixed bag for me, honestly. Like, part-time he's entertaining, part-time he's just fucking annoying. Literally, this guy needs to be fed.
Mini Rack was adorable and funny.
Well, yeah, Chibi Rack was actually fucking hilarious. Like, I actually got a lot to
Rakumon was adorable.
Yeah.
He looked like a little Agumon.
He does look like he looked like a swole Agumon.
He really did. It was hilarious.
A swole ass Agumon, you know.
Yeah, there was a lot of funny parts that I don't think were really necessary. And there is, I don't know, I think that there was some conflicts that could have been thrown out the window altogether, or just like kind of given a cursory glance. The key points of tag were Kuhn versus Quattro versus Hats, and Dratzi versus Swordsman, and Bam and Androssi.
Unfortunately, they weren't very those fights weren't really interesting at all, to be honest.
Well, Androssi getting the sword of the swordsman. There are certain things that you kind of have to go through. But I know that that the game of tag was kind of crucial. So I'm not saying compress all of tag. Tag by itself probably could have been left alone. It's most the other things that I think could have been compressed. So like the the training with the water stuff probably could have been compressed a little bit. Like that whole bit where after the Game of Crown and before the tag, that could have been compressed a little bit. And then before the Game of Crown and after the game of or after the Battle Royale, that could have been compressed a little bit. I mean, kind of try to get a little bit more story out of what's hit there, because I didn't feel like there was enough story to support 12 episodes.
The point is, like, the power, the superpower thing with the Sisu or is actually translates to Godwater, and there's not much really going for that in the explanation. The webtoons explained shit better, fortunately, and the fact that the power itself was kind of like on the side in terms of what was happening, it just felt like that could have been just put to the side more, in favor of more
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
story building.
The Shinso training, like you could have had a 30-second scene of, oh yeah, this is some Shinso training, and Ho's really upset that, but he's going to show off that he's cool, and like that was it of the Shinso training. And then you come, like you go forward a little bit, and you see Ho gets his letter, and now like there's a little bit more suspicion, and like that's all that happens. I feel like that would have been perfect.
Yeah, most of the story, from what I read, does mostly happen in the cafeteria parts, like that are not funny enough. Because the training wasn't really that stretched out in the source, but somehow the staff decided to stretch up to really emphasize more on the training, which didn't turn out well because the power itself, there wasn't really anything intriguing about the superpower itself at that point, unfortunately.
It's like, why do I need to know that Sleepyhead is okay with teaching Bam, but not Ho? Is there like a point later on in the series that this might be meaningful? If that's true, then I don't know.
Something that was added that you probably liked was the extra scene with Rachel talking to Bam. That was an extra scene, apparently. But I don't know how to feel about that scene. It's just like, oh, okay. It's just that one of those character interaction moments.
Which conversation?
Like they were talking, like I think
Sleepyhead
Rachel was in a
joke?
wheelchair, and
Was
then
was it a joke in the anime, or was it a joke in the light novel too, or the webtoon as well?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was a joke in the webtoons.
Then it's
I don't remember
useless.
that.
Get rid of it.
They got rid of the joke.
They should have gotten rid of the joke. They didn't get rid of the joke. Sleepyhead taught Bam and not Ho, and Ho got mad because Ho's mad.
The way you said it, like
Exactly.
maybe that's why Ho is intentionally has that name. Like, the author was just literally just stirring up shit with that one.
Ho's mad. Ho's mad.
And now Ho's dead. Ho's dead. Great, what a pun.
Great pun.
But continuing on.
Like,
I would think that
Go ahead.
I would the part with Rachel talking to Bam was an extra scene. I don't, because they didn't really talk much in the webtoons, funny enough. So I would think they were trying to prioritize character interactions, but in the end, I don't know if it really mattered. It's just reaffirming us that Bam is a simp. That's the only thing it really did. That's the only really thing that it did. To be honest, that scene
Or cuck.
there.
I think he's more of a cuck, but I don't know. It's like just, goddamn trains. There's way too many trains right here. I don't know. I understand Bam wanting to continuously chase this one girl, because I kind of did the same thing, and I heavily regretted it later in life.
Yeah.
heavily regretted it later in life.
The line that was removed that he told Bam to imagine holding the world in his hands in order to use Sisu.
Huh.
Hmm. I do remember him saying something like
I
that.
don't remember him saying anything like that in the anime. So
But it was so. But it wasn't really. But it wasn't real. Yeah, the anime didn't do about like. I would feel like we would just. That was just the line. Like we just have that whole training part right there. Them just zapping to where they're training, and then Ho telling them, "Imagine holding the world in his hands like this," and then we move on. Move on. No more of that training shit because there's nothing much to it with the superpower yet. Which they will explain, which they actually do sort of explain later on, but that's not an anime form yet, and I doubt it will. And I'm not so sure when it will be, if it does get confirmed.
yeah. I don't know. There was not enough important things and too much filler.
I wouldn't say filler
That's
is just more like unimportant stuff, like the stuff that
very
never
very
really drives the story.
yeah, not consequential things.
Yeah.
And because of that, like the world building just wasn't that good. It's like I think that the only characters that I'm mildly interested in are actually the princesses, and they have very little screen time. So
Because the background with the princesses is something to really It's something really interesting, and when I really think about it,
yeah,
the how they're selected and all, that's a point of interest that I wish was more elaborated on. They did do that later on, but it's not. It's kind of like it's just what the anime did. It was just presented right there, and just like they don't really go back to it like it's something important when it
right.
does turn out to be something important later on.
I don't know. I kind of wish there was a little bit more there.
Yeah, because even if it's trying to set the foundations, it
Ouch.
didn't what happened. I just
Jabbar says, to be honest, season one might have worked better in flashbacks for the anime. I
oh
mean,
shit.
if it's a prologue, I mean, might as fucking well. I mean,
You know what? Yeah, you're right. It should have been just
it
like
would be nice.
episode zero, an
Yeah.
episode zero flashback, and then we get to the story.
Or
Then stuff will work.
at least be upfront with the fact that it is very much a beginner, like very it's a very high view of an intro. Like
Yeah.
it is a very broad, comprehensive intro. I don't think that you need that big of an intro, but
Yeah.
if that's your intro, then that's your intro.
And here's the thing. Tower of God webtoons has been there for at least a decade now. So you'd have to think like you don't hold back on wanting to show more of it. I would not be mad at the season one part being compressed into one episode or even the half an episode. That would have been fine because not much consequential stuff really happens
Butter.
during that part.
My pretty.
What happens, Zero?
I just picked up my kitty. That's all.
Yeah, but yeah, you get what I'm saying, Zero, or did you
Yeah,
get
I
distracted?
get what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
if it makes more sense to start with season two, then by all means start with season two.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's
But
how a lot of adaptations go. Just an advertisement to get stuff. But the
it's
web,
like,
how Webtoons and Crunchyroll did it, not forgivable for me on
yeah,
personal level. Like I've said before, there's a reason why my personal ratings of Tower of God was really harsh, and I'm not gonna bother even fucking changing it. Like
yeah.
I have a
I,
legit hatred for that
I
for the series.
maybe not hatred, but I mean, if you go through my reaction, it was bland. It was probably the worst reaction I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like
Wait, wait,
with the exception of maybe like Erased, but Erased
Gridman.
was more like it was
Oh wait,
more
no,
about
Gridman. You only
our
back.
silent like facial reactions than anything. But here,
Oh,
I just felt like I just.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna mention Gridman, but you only watch. I remember you only watched one episode of it. Gridman was mediocre. Was mediocre at best. So take it from me.
The
I
only thing
watched
that
it.
was good about Gridman was Rika. That was the
True.
only thing good about Gridman. Um,
You're just there for the thighs. That's all it is. But
the entire
yeah,
Gundam, the Origin OVA short anime series, is also a prologue for the main Gundam suit story, but it works well on its own.
yeah. I actually watched the Gundam One OVA. It's actually one of my favorites too, and I liked how it did something for its own. Like it set up the main character Char Einzabel and made it and elaborated on his character even more as opposed to what the original anime had done. So it worked well on its own, even though it was a prologue. So you don't. So a prologue doesn't always need to rely on
Well,
the ongoing source material to justify that it's supposedly good. It needs to
the
have its own set of stuff in hand. You
the
know.
thing about Gundam is there is a very very big Gundam universe.
Oh yeah,
In fact, there's two Gundam universes,
maybe three, maybe three.
possibly. But like there is this really high fantasy version, and then there is this really really strong military version. Um,
Yeah.
and they don't generally mix. But the idea behind Gundam Origin was it wanted to answer questions that have have been asked throughout the other Gundam series. And so as this universe has unfolded, there are questions to be answered, and the readers were like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and let's do an origin story here, and answer some of those questions."
Yeah.
That's kind of
And the
how
race.
it's kind of how I think it was done. I unfortunately I didn't watch Gundam the Origins, but when I think about what I would have done to universes that are that big, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Um.
There's like 5 combinations of Gundam versions. Yeah, no.
Oh lord. There's actually a Gundam Build series, which is also a separate universe in itself. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and can't forget. No, we don't talk about that series. I'm sorry. I can't even. I
Wait,
can't
which
even-
wait, which one?
I'm not even gonna speak his name. We don't talk about that series.
Uh wait, am I missing something? I feel like I might know about this Gundam series, but I don't know. Like, give me a hint, Zero. Who is it?
It had like chibis. It was like the chibi Gundams.
Oh no, I
Yeah, we don't talk about that
okay.
series.
I didn't touch it, and I
We
don't.
don't
And
talk
I'm
about
not
that
gonna find it.
series, but it's its own universe that is entirely true, and we don't ever touch it.
I wouldn't even touch it with a the 60 foot long pole.
Mm. It's also newbie friendly. You don't need to be fans first to understand the general story of Gundam Origins.
That's true.
That's actually really
is
good.
true.
That can be difficult to be able to pull off.
Yeah, it's not easy to pull off.
Yeah. I mean, imagine trying to pull that off with like the entire Marvel universe.
Oh, can we not talk about the Marvel universe?
Oh, I mean,
again?
just this is like those comic universes in general, just Marvel, DC. Just imagine trying.
Yeah, because
imagine
I'm just
trying to
so
get
big.
a newbie friendly origin of MCU or DCU.
Yeah, I'm so jaded with with those two franchises. I don't even want to bother talking about them.
Right.
Please spare me the
So,
the pain on this one.
We'll just pass over that for now. But yeah.
Like the cosmology was okay, but everything else just I don't even know how to feel about it anymore compared to 10 years ago.
But we're way off track here.
All right, let's get back.
So I honestly don't know if there's a whole lot more that I can really discuss.
Do you want to talk about the animation choice, like this art style it went?
I don't mind the animation, honestly. I felt like the opening had way too many animation styles kind of mashed into it. And like the whole animation opening intro scene just is completely unappetizing to me.
It was so dull.
And you can see it in my face cuz every time I'm watching the opening, what am I doing? Looking at anything but the TV.
I don't have a choice. When I was reacting, I don't have a choice. I didn't have a choice.
Screw that. You want me to react to
but
it?
I should have taken a choice.
Here's my reaction. I'm looking the other direction. I will enjoy the opening song. And
yeah, the opening is actually pretty good by itself.
It's actually really funny. I like the TV version's editing better than the actual song.
Yeah.
So the actual song, it has a slight it has a slight instrumental intro, and then it goes into the rap portion, right? I didn't particularly like the rap portion, but when it started with the chorus first, and then went into the rap version, it had a different feel to it. And I don't know, I kind of liked that. But when it started off as the rap portion first, I was like, this kind of ruins the feel of it.
Yeah.
So, did you listen to the Korean version? I listened to whatever the original, whatever the original song from Stray Kids was. I listened to their music video, and I listened to a couple other versions, like the full original versions. I listened to those and didn't particularly like it.
Mm.
But I like the actual opening. It's very strange. Generally, I don't.
It's just that I think that I can give the visuals a pass. It's just that the song may not necessarily fit the sort of the type of visuals.
I mean, when you actually listen to the translations, then yeah, it fits a lot because it's all they talk about is climbing a tower.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm also
I'm also not
the biggest fan of boy bands. and that's exactly what Stray Kids are. It's like the Backstreet Boys of Japan, or Korea, or wherever it was. Every Stray Kids singer is like pretty up, looks like they have lipstick on, pristine face, pristine neckline and hair, and I don't know. It just looked weird to me. And the majority of the music video was like beauty
Zero.
shots.
I will just say that I use for a lot of opening and ending themes I do like. It's usually more that I like the TV size versions of them as opposed to the full most of the time. Sometimes it can be the other way around with some.
I find a lot of full series or full songs I really enjoy. It's like I really enjoy the Chaos Drifters for No Guns Life. Anything that came out of was what was their name? Sawano Hiroyuki.
Yeah.
Anything that's come from them is just, oh my god.
Yeah,
I enjoy most of Myth and Roid stuff. I don't know.
Wait, the Shield Hero opening was sung by a boy band? I actually forgot about that. Was it actually sung by a boy band? Yeah, apparently so. Hold on a sec. Okay, wrong.
I'm still not a fan of boy band. I'm still not a fan of watching boy bands.
So apparently Mad Kid is the are the singers of the opening. Mad Kid is a boy band. Great. Their songs are not that bad, but the fact that their boy bands just like, oh, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, so far the only thing they did was the two Shield Hero openings, apparently. Not all boy bands are. It's not like we're saying boy bands are bad. It's just like Zero doesn't really particularly like.
I don't particularly like watching boy bands. I don't mind listening to them as long as I don't know that they're boy bands.
It's better to not know at times. But yeah,
I will. I'd much rather be. I'd much rather be ignorant to the fact that I'm listening to boy bands. But I don't know. It was weird.
I mean,
because when I went to go,
I do like the Burnout Syndrome though. I mean, I don't know if they qualify as that. They're just more of like a rock band, some sort of J-pop, but I usually like most of their stuff. But let's move on. I don't know. The animation itself. Well, the soundtracks are just not very. I just like very lackluster. I don't even remember any in particular from Tower of God.
I don't really remember any background music.
There's nothing really notable. It's not as epic as the soundtracks from something like Attack on Titan or Killer,
like everything,
or Killer Kill or something like that.
Every song from God, my hair.
I'm here.
Every song from Recreators, I know exactly where it came from. I know exactly what scene was.
Oh man, yeah.
Every song from SAO, I know exactly what scene was playing. I know exactly where they were, and it's like I'm also listening to the soundtracks for like Legend of Dragoon. I know you probably might not have played that game, but it's like every bit of that soundtrack is just iconic. And you know exactly what part of the game you're playing. and that's kind of the point of having specific soundtracks like that. So I just think that like the budget for the music just really wasn't there,
Yeah.
and they got a. I'm not even sure how popular Stray Kids really is. So it could have just been they picked some mildly popular band, paid them a few $1,000s to actually produce a song for it, and that's all she wrote. I don't know, but it felt like they didn't really spend a lot of money on musical budget. So yeah, that's a very low rating. That's for sure. Voice acting was all right. I didn't mind voice acting.
Yeah, the voice acting was it was fine. It wasn't something
It wasn't
it wasn't something
stellar.
crazy, but it was pretty solid.
It was pretty good. So yeah, I think that's the only really strong point
I don't
about
know
it.
if that's a good a proper place and time and place to answer that, Andronius, because Zero and Rizzo have not been really caught up with SAO at all. Although I think Rizzo might watch it on his own at some point. So I don't know how to answer that right now. Even though I have watched the very last, that part two, the last like with the alchemization and all. I don't know how to answer that at this
So
point.
apparently
I
my
don't.
YouTube chat got killed over.
What happened?
I haven't seen chat since Jabbar says, "Did you listen to the Korean version?"
Oh, okay.
So as I haven't seen any of these messages.
Okay.
Is the
Jabbar
latest
actually
season
meant.
of SAO actually good, or is still mostly a Kirito power fantasy? You're probably if you feel like it's just Kirito power fantasy, you're probably just never gonna like SAO.
Yeah.
If you feel that SAO is just Kirito power fantasy from the get go, you probably just aren't gonna like SAO because that's not.
Yeah,
really...
because in the end, our organization was still focusing, still brought the spotlight back to Kirito, because he has to be the one to
yeah, I mean he is the main
clean up
character.
everything.
I mean that's like saying Boku no Hero. If it's still mostly Deku's power fantasy, then it's not really good. But the whole show is about Deku becoming powerful. So
Yeah, but that's the problem I have with Boku no Hero Academia right now, because I don't know, because at this point in time,
did you not know that Excel World had its own anime?
yeah, how'd you not know XL World had its own anime?
Just never got into
I mean,
SAO. I mean,
oh, okay.
Excel World actually came out before SAO.
Which is kind of funny, to be honest.
I didn't know that until a few years later. But I would like to see the crossover. I think that would be interesting. Because there was a crossover.
Reiki did say stuff about crossing. There is stuff from the Axel
No, he
world
actually wrote.
line
He
up
actually wrote a
apparently.
full story about there was an actual crossover story that Reiki Kawahara wrote.
Yeah.
There's an SAO show, but without Kirito, though.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, but
we
that
know.
was. I'm not sure if that was actually written by Reiki Kawahara. I think it was just co-written. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was.
It was
a different project.
It was a Gun Girl. It was a Gun Girl one. It was like
yeah.
It was like the main character was a female, and you know she had her issues with being too tall. You know?
And it was like
Yeah, it's altered.
It had. I feel like it did a lot better job than what was it? The spin-off of Danmachi Gaiden. God, that.
Oh
was,
yeah. Danmachi Gaiden
Yuri.
I wanted to like,
Danmachi Yuri.
but I mean, I'm all for the Yuri, but that thing didn't go anywhere. It was just like what was happening. It was just basically like season 1, but just but just a different perspective, and it unfortunately didn't add much to it, honestly, which sucked.
But yeah, but so go back to the point of like if it's still mostly a power fantasy, then you feel it's not actually good. I mean, the entire point of the series is kind of a story about Kirito going through different worlds and going through different stuff. And I mean, the entire point is for him to be a powerful hero. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. So, if that's gonna be a problem for you, then you're probably not gonna like it. And the same thing is gonna happen with Progressive, because what Progressive is gonna do is it's gonna go through kind of like a day by day. Almost like a diary of what happened in all of SAO as he's going through the levels. And I don't think that they really skip on any levels either. So you're gonna have all like way more stuff in floor 1, way more stuff in floor 2. Like I think that there was like one to 2 floor. No, I think there was 1 floor per novel up to where I read, and I read through I think 3 or 4, and I kind of stopped because I kind of ran out of time. I ran out of the ability to read through them. But yeah, I mean there's more Asuna, so there's way more Asuna than what the original show alludes to.
I've heard Progressive does because people complained about Asa not getting a lot of characterization in the anime. So I don't know how Progressive handles it yet, because I have no clue.
I honestly think it might be worse.
Because I'm not gonna say Asa was a extremely well written female main character, but I wouldn't go to say that she's bad. I wouldn't go so far to say it. And I'm a critical guy myself, and I'm saying this because there is nothing that radiates with me that she is black. At worst, I would feel like the anime did not present her well.
So with Kirito starting out too badass, he didn't.
He didn't start out that badass, honestly.
He actually started off like, yeah, we're starting to have a potentially long discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. It's fine because
we're way
it's
off
attached to
topic.
it,
We're way off topic. It's also getting pretty late, and I should probably get going here soon.
Yeah.
We've been on here
yeah,
for 2 hours already, dude.
Yeah, damn. I'm actually surprised that we got that far. Is there anything else you want to say about this, or have we touched upon Tower of God as much as we could about all the bad parts and any possibly good parts it had? But enjoyment levels,
I feel like
I think we already.
I feel like the only thing that I enjoyed about it was learning about the princesses, and that was and learning about like the rankers and the administrators and stuff like that. That stuff was mildly interesting, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't interesting enough to actually have my enjoyment, like give me something to cling on to for my enjoyment.
I couldn't find anything much stuff interesting. Like it would just be there to catch my eye, but then it's just like, oh, it just comes to pass, and then it just like it feels like there's not much significance to begin with. At least what was shown in anime form.
Yeah, I did enjoy the like the princess versus princess thing. I did enjoy that.
I was about to say, I didn't like how it just had a little tonal shift on a personal level. It's just like y'all were getting deep into that damn backstory of Annex that was pretty messed up in itself, and then you just switch from them having this sort of gag thing to where they're trying to push each other off the damn edge, and they just both fall off instead. It's just like what? It's mildly it's mildly amusing, but it's just like really?
Somehow they come together with like a slight reconciliation and I guess you found respect for each other or some weird rivalry mishmash of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the only mildly interesting thing I found in the show.
Yeah, I did try to like that part about it.
There is I do want to know more about the world. I would like to know where the tower is leading to and how Bam actually gets there. But I think that my curiosity for doing that is less than my will to actually watch it. And so I doubt I'll be watching season 2 unless I really, really get pressured for it. I mean,
and the thing is, I will let you know, like if how a season 2 is going. I mean, just so you don't end up wasting your time. Like if it ever comes up, so don't worry, Zero. Like I'll update you on that.
I mean, moving forward, we're probably going to be Otaku Saga in general is probably going to be pushing more towards the binge reactions that I've been doing and more towards original content that Rizzo has been hoping to actually get up and running, but he's just not in Japan. And original content I plan on getting up and running that I just right now, I mean, we got more home improvement stuff to work on before I can actually start doing that. So, as soon as I can actually get to work on some of that stuff, I mean, I'm going to be moving more towards doing just binge watching and less seasonal reactions anyway. So, the hope of me doing a seasonal reaction of Tower of God is not going to happen most likely.
It's is like almost a 0% possibility at this point for them.
But I might be pressured to do a season 2, if not anything, to make fun of it more. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I got to pressure Zero into just reacting to God of High School after it finishes because I want to see his reaction to it. Not gonna lie, because oh my, what that series has turned into. It'll happen one day.
Oh God. Well, we are moving on to a new season, so
yeah.
I don't know. We will,
and hopefully get out of 2020, man. It's been quite a difficult stretch of time at this point.
Oh yeah.
Trying to just keep it together, trying to keep our sanity together. It's just like a lot of stuff we have to worry about, and a lot of and much more up ahead. All right. Well, but I guess that's pretty much do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do plan, like, the whole reason why I want to do these discussions, these binges, is for an inevitable review show that I'm still in the process of actually making a reality, and hopefully when that review show comes out, it'll become way more apparent why I'm deciding to do the binges and why I'm binging the shows that I'm binging, because I don't know, I just enjoy making fun of things.
No, hopefully I can be a regular guest on those, if anything.
I don't know. The discussions maybe, reviews probably not. That's not. I don't know. That's
The
separate
discussion's
thing.
definite. The discussion's well, discussions and reviews do kind of go together sometimes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Thank you all so much for watching and listening to our rants and watching the derailment of this random train that we decided to throw together. It's as thrown together as our thumbnail is.
And guys, trust me, it's not Sal who did it. Zero just came up with this within 2 minutes.
Yeah, the amazing thing about this thumbnail was I was just like, oh hey, hey Ryu, do you have a picture that I could probably use for a thumbnail? No, not really. Okay, turn to your right.
Yeah, that's what we did.
And I'm gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna pull something together.
That's what we did, and it somehow worked. That's great. Imagine if I had a green screen, how much better it would have looked, though. I swear.
I think I pulled it off pretty well though. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Ryu, thank you Ryu for sticking around and hanging out with me. Stick around a little bit longer and I'll say goodbye to you in private. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm Zero. And
I'm Ryuseishun.
And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Oh yeah, don't forget
stay
the like button, subscribe button, all that stuff. Ryusei, what's your YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, it's basically what it is. Ryuseishun Reacts. So just search it up, and you'll find it. It's not a big channel so far. I mean, YouTube fucked over my original one, and so I'm just trying to pull together the scraps of what was left.
Yeah,
it's not been an easy time.
Anyway, yeah, have a good one, guys, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Show us what you got when the mother